There's a common notion out there when it comes to protein, more is necessarily better, but this is hardly the case. The US recommended daily intake is 0.8 milligrams per kilogram of lean body weight. That's not a minimum. That's what is enough for the vast majority of people. The way that value was derived at was by taking the mean requirement and adding 2 full standard deviations beyond that as insurance to make sure that most people were covered. That covers 95% of the population. There's going to be some exceptional people that require more. The example would be an athlete. A hard training athlete, though, is going to be burning more calories and automatically consuming more protein. In some circumstances, even more per gram may be needed. For example, burn victims or people that have suffered serious trauma. Or perhaps maybe really hard training, professional level strongmen working out several hours a day doing heavy weightlifting. But that's going to be the very exceptional circumstance. And now if you think about my needs, I'm roughly 80 kilograms, about 178 pounds, a little more than 80 kilograms. At 0.8 per kilogram, that would be 64 grams of protein. Now, mind you, I'm not pure lean, I've got some fat. So let's say my recommended daily intake may be in the order of 55 grams. Most people would think that that's not enough and probably think that that's what they should be getting at a single meal. Now, so a couple of times, just out of curiosity, I've tracked my daily protein intake, and it usually works out to be about 120 grams per day, which is plenty. That's probably 4 or 5 standard deviations above the mean requirement. That's without really paying attention to consciously picking high protein foods. A newborn baby, when breastfeeding, is getting breast milk that's only about 5% of calories as protein. And by weight, it's only about 1% of calories. The baby's growing and developing faster than any other time in life. When you're working on weights, even working out really hard, you'll be lucky to build just a few measly pounds of muscle every year. And you're able to do that without taking a protein supplement. The idea that you need a protein supplement when a baby doesn't is crazy. You simply don't. Particularly problematic is if you're trying to get a high protein intake through animal products. The problem with animal foods is they're too high in branched chain amino acids and methionine. Branched chain amino acids promote unwanted weight gain, and also they promote insulin resistance, which is a precursor stage to type 2 diabetes. Methionine promotes aging pathways like mTOR, and also probably promotes cancer. So these are things that you don't want. So particularly if you're conscious of your health from a longevity point of view, you want to avoid the animal proteins. So if you think you need a protein supplement, you simply don't, and it may work against your long-term health. You're getting enough protein. Let me propose this. Ask any doctor when was the last time he saw a case of dietary protein deficiency. I guarantee you he's probably never seen a case of dietary protein deficiency, certainly not in isolation. Occasionally you'll see people that are wasting away from cancer or have anorexia nervosa, but the problem there isn't just protein, it's all nutrients and calories in particular. Isolated protein deficiencies are extremely unlikely, if not entirely impossible. An astute heckler may raise the case of, what about people with liver cirrhosis? Their body proteins are so low that the fluids in their body are leaking into their abdominal cavity, and they get this big distended bellies that doctors have to drain so that they can feel comfortable and breathe properly. That's not a dietary protein deficiency. What it is an inability of the liver to assemble amino acids into the proper proteins so that the fluids are retained within our bloodstream and within our body tissues without leaking out. It's not a dietary issue. It's an issue of assembling and building proteins. 38 years ago when this picture was taken, I was eating animal flesh 5 to 6 times a day in the belief that it was necessary to build muscle. My go-to meal was chicken and peas. Little did I know at the time that the peas were probably providing me with plenty of protein. For reasons that I didn't know at the time, chicken was a particularly bad choice of animal flesh, but that's a topic for another video. If you think you need animal flesh several times a day to build muscle, tell that to this guy. He's never eaten animal flesh in his entire life.
think of all the biggest, strongest animals, you know, elephants, hippopotami, rhinoceri. They're pure herbivores. And a good example is silverback gorilla. Gorillas are about 98% genetically similar to human beings. And yet they're not taking any protein supplements, they're not even eating any meat. They're living on fruits, leaves, and the occasional termites. And yet they build tremendous muscle mass. It's been estimated that a silverback gorilla could bench press 2,500 pounds. That's more than 10 strong men. And again, no supplements, no meat required. Lost a few tomatoes there. Now look at this beautiful salad here. It's got kale. Kale actually has more protein per calorie than does beef. It's got some berries, some tomatoes, some cabbage. It's basically just leafy stuff and some fruits and vegetables. There's actually plenty of protein in there. It's a non-issue. And this would be somewhat like what a gorilla would be eating, and with that strength to bench press 2,500 pounds.
So if you think that you need to take a protein supplement and that protein is a major concern, it's simply not true. No need to worry about it. Just eat a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet.
That's so cute.